When I first started out, I wasn't making that many offers, truthfully, because, it took me some time to analyze. Sometimes I went to go see the property first, and I was only making roughly 3 offers a month. By the time I had her, probably about 2 to 3 months in, we were making probably 40 to 50 offers a month.
Welcome to the Rental Property Owner and Real Estate Investor Podcast, brought to you by the Rental Property Owner Association, providing benefits and services to real estate investors and rental property owners for over 48 years. With your host, Brian Hamrick from Hamrick Investment Group.
This episode is sponsored by Green Property Management, managing everything from single-family homes to apartment complexes in the West Michigan area. Find out more at greenpropertymgt.com. And Point Central, the leading provider of enterprise-scale smart home automation for short and long-term rental property managers. Learn more at pointcentral.com. Hello and welcome to episode 104. Many of the successful real estate investors we've talked to on this show tend to have the following in common. They've developed systems and processes that have exponentially increased their deal flow and ability to get deals done. Well, we're going to explore that topic further today with Brittany Calloway, a real estate investor, consultant, and CEO of Top Notch Property Solutions. Brittany is also going to be one of the featured speakers at the RPOA's annual free Real Estate Investor and Landlord Expo and Conference right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan on February 22nd through 24th of 2018. And you can go to rpoaonline.org to register for free. Brittany's topic will be real estate investing automation and how to create a smart and duplicable system of your very own that will become a money-making machine. Brittany, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you on the show. I love talking about systems and processes and automation and things that make our lives easier as real estate investors. Before we get into that, though, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be a real estate investor in the first place?
Sure, absolutely. So actually I started out straight from college. I did a program called Teach for America. We're actually taught in Southeast DC, special education. So I was actually working with students in a lower income background. And from there, that was actually what's ironically sparked me into real estate investing. I was working with a family that was going through a foreclosure and working with a tax lien. The IRS had put a tax lien on their property by accident. And they came to me and said, hey, can you actually help me with my housing situation? And I said, again, I'm just a teacher. I don't know, but I'm happy to, put you in contact with any resources that I may have to make this experience as best as it can be. And I can't take the credit. My girlfriend did a lot of the work, who was an attorney, and basically saved them from actually having to lose their house. And from there, people just started coming up to me saying, hey, can you help me with my housing needs? And I have to file for bankruptcy, or I'm getting ready to go through an eviction process. And so I just became an advocate and decided I wanted to teach myself more about real estate concepts and topics. And so learned the business a little bit more and said, you know what, I think I can definitely go and do this full time. So I have been self-employed now for 3 years. I celebrated that November of this year, and currently investing in 5 different markets. So I have rentals in Jacksonville, Florida. Partner and I do some high-end flips in the Florida area as well, in the Fort Lauderdale area. I also have rentals in Columbus, Ohio, and currently investing in the DMV area, DC, Maryland area specifically.
Great.
So it has been going.
Are those typically buy and hold type investments, rehabs, flips? What are you doing exactly?
Yes. So in Jacksonville, it's mostly where my buy and holds are. In Columbus, I have buy and holds and also doing flips out there, and doing the majority, though, of my flips in the DC, Maryland area.
So, it's an interesting theme, and it's come up numerous times on this show where people are trying to help other people and solve their problems. And that sort of led to them getting into real estate or making money in real estate. And it seems like that's how you kind of got into it as well. Was it just the process of helping other people with their real estate matters that made you realize, hey, there's some money to make here?
Yeah. And so actually, it's funny. I was sitting with a family and they asked me to come because a bigger company was coming to essentially buy their house. And so they said, hey, could you just kind of be there to sit and kind of, just shadow the process. And I remember walking up to the door thinking like, what am I doing here? I have no expertise in this. I don't even know if I'm going to say anything correct or help. Hopefully I can get them the best situation of whatever happens. And so we're sitting there at the table and I'm just shouting stuff out like, hey, they have to move. Is there a way that we could pay for moving costs? What about the stuff that they don't want in the house? Is there a way for you guys to help with covering the cost and maybe clean the house out? And then funny enough, I went to the bathroom, and during that conversation, when I came out, this guy pulled me to the side and was like, all right, so what's your wholesale fee? And I was like, wholesale fee? I was like, what do you think my wholesale fee should be? Like, I don't actually know like what that is. So I'm like Googling it, trying to figure out like, what does that mean? Because they really thought that I had already had the property pretty much under contract and I was going to assign it to them. But again, didn't know what that was the situation. And so that was my first understanding. And I actually split that quote unquote fee with the homeowners anyway. But learned that, yeah, there was some monetary approaching to it. And then fast forward, I was like, you know what, maybe I could even just buy these myself and redevelop them myself. So I started essentially pitching for private money. And that's essentially how I got on that track and have done the majority of my deals with private financing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're a born negotiator. You just showed up and stumbled into the whole thing because you knew how to negotiate.
Yeah. And I was just, I'm looking back, there were some things I wish I had known, right? You don't know what you don't know, but they were very satisfied. They felt comfortable in the transaction. And yeah, got them some extra money in the process. So yeah. And then referrals, like you said, once you help people and you do right by people, I mean, referrals just spread. And so I get a lot of people that come to me by referral base, and it helps me because I don't have to do as much marketing, but a lot of people do reach out to me on a referral base too to help them.
Wow. So let me make sure I'm clear on this. So you're working with people, distressed homeowners, and is that how you're picking up the majority of your properties?
Yeah, the majority of my properties.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and you've developed a reputation where people who might be upside down on their loan or not able to pay their mortgage contact you to get help, and you figure out ways to buy them out and make money in the process.
Those have been my primary strategies, but I don't get that luxury in other markets. So I've definitely done quite a bit of online and offline strategies as well, to be able to pick up properties in a pretty, fast pace, to be able to renovate them or refinance them out for myself, or be able to flip them and just sell them.
Wow.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I love your story because you just completely blindly stumbled into it by helping someone out and being there and asking the right questions. That's awesome.
Well, it's been great.
Yeah. So your topic when you speak at the conference, which is February 22nd through 24th here in Grand Rapids of 2018, your topic is going to be real estate automation.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you could just start with the basics. What is real estate automation, and how have you begun to apply it, or how have you applied it to your real estate investing?
Yeah. So one of the first things what's great is that I really started to automate my business very early on, even when I still had a full-time job 3 years ago. I had gotten my real estate license, and one of the first things I did was actually hire a virtual assistant. And so basically what I did was I took the time to really document the procedures that I wanted that VA to do while I was, working 9 to 5. And essentially used her to help me outsource some of those tasks for my business. So it was really great once I kind of put that procedure manual in place, and then I just started adding more and more tasks. Fast forward later, 3 years later, it's crazy, but she is still with me, that VA, and she has now pretty much been like a VA project manager for my other VAs that are underneath her. So because she's seen every aspect of the business, down to accounting, down to marketing, down to hiring, she can now pretty much do a lot of that management, which frees up my time. So I don't have to communicate with the VAs as much. She does that.
So let's break this down even further.
Yeah.
So VA is virtual assistant. Is that correct?
Sorry. Yes,
so
that's
virtual
true.
Meaning it may be someone you've never even met, someone who could be in a completely different state or different country.
Yes, this one is particularly in a different country. However, you can, of course, have virtual assistants who could be in the States, who could be in college, right? Any a stay-at-home mom, anybody can be a virtual assistant.
And what exactly did you have her do in the beginning? Like, how did you begin that VA relationship? Because when I think of hiring a VA, my thought goes to, well, I've got so many different irons in the fire, and it's
Yeah.
just taking the time to create an operations manual and systematize it and make someone else understand it and do it as well as I can do it. That's a very daunting thought process. So how did you even begin to tackle that?
Yeah, so I definitely, how do you do anything they say, right? Like when it comes to just like an elephant, right? One bite at a time. How do you eat an elephant? Similar to that, right? It just truly is, taking baby steps in the process. So I just started with basically what is consuming the most time for me in a given day. And that's what I chose to outsource first. So I think people think like, well, I have to put all this time aside to like document the process and automate my business. And that's not true. I was doing it truthfully just as the days were going by. So one of the first things I did was MLS offers. So I made my virtual assistant an assistant underneath me, under my license, and she was able to put in offers on properties, putting the contract together for me, and I would go ahead and actually press submit as the realtor to put offers on properties. But she basically helped me, put all that together before I got to press submit, which saved a lot of time because she was combing through which ones were great investments for me, doing our Mayo formula and being able to submit for me. So that was great. And in addition to that, so I would just truthfully, just write down the steps, like as I was going through it myself, kind of tweaked it to make it fit for her to be able to understand it. And then I outsourced that for her to do. And of course, it came with consistency. She started doing that every single day. And at one point we had to turn it off because it was so much. We had gotten almost close to 100 offers, being put out in a week. And when you get that, right, you're getting a lot of responses, a lot of, rejections, but counter offers. And so, once you turn it on, you really have to be able to monitor it. But yeah, we picked up quite a bit of deals just doing that in the markets that we were in. So that worked. And then we said, okay, well, what else can we outsource? How can we add more tasks to the plate for her to be able to help us scale? And that's what we did, step by step.
I'd like to take a moment to tell you about Green Property Management. Not only do they manage everything from single-family homes to apartment complexes in the West Michigan area, they also manage my entire portfolio. So I can tell you from personal experience that their unique flat fee management style is worth a closer look. If you feel that your property isn't operating to its fullest potential, then Green Property Management can help you take a holistic approach that will save you money, eliminate your headaches, and increase your net income. And if you're a property manager interested in applying Green Property Management's model, give them a call at 1-866-95-GREEN or visit them on the web at greenpropertymgt.com. So how would you compare your deal flow pre-virtual assistant to your deal flow within the first couple months of bringing your virtual assistant on?
Yeah, I feel like definitely the more it's a numbers game, right? The more offers you make, right? The more likely some are to be accepted. That equals into process, right? Or profits, right? So essentially when I first started out, I wasn't making that many offers, truthfully, because, it took me some time to analyze, and sometimes I went to go see the property first, and I was only making roughly, 3 offers a month. Which didn't always result in a deal. And so by the time I had her, probably about 2 to 3 months in, we were probably close to making, I would say, probably 40 to 50 offers a month. So it drastically increased the number of offers because it freed up my time to have to do all the analysis on the property. And we were making a lot of...
By a factor of 15. So you
Yeah.
take the number of offers you were making and multiply it by 15, and
yeah,
we were able to do that within
seriously,
a month or
yeah.
two.
And so, about 2 months. I would say about 2 months. And yeah, so we were like, okay, this is great. So how can I, add more tasks for her to do?
Wow.
Yeah, so we have her started doing social media. online lead generation, right? Using a landing page and a squeeze page, and how could we, basically optimize that site with keywords to be able to now get leads online. When it came to our probate searches, right? Combing out through the lists and being able to see, who we should actually be mailing out to. She did a lot of that research for us, as well as tracking and follow up, right? So we created kind of that calendar and system for that, which has been really great.
Now, did you just get lucky with your virtual assistant that you found someone who was so good at doing what you needed her to do? Or did you have to go through a number of different people to find the right one?
Yeah, I would say there was a little bit of luck in finding her. However, what's been great is that the people who now work underneath her, so we have 4 other VAs that are underneath her, the retention rate has been, I would say close to 90%. I've had to get rid of 2 VAs in a span of 3 years. So that's not too bad. But what made her stay was also the incentives that I offered her, right? So, anybody can treat people like a transaction, right? Like, okay, this is going to be $4 an hour, $8 an hour. But she really saw the growth in the company, right? So how can we, give you bigger incentives and bonuses and commissions to now make her want to stay? And, she's in the past year, she's renovated her house in the Philippines. She's essentially, been able to buy computers for all her children. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into her life being elevated. And, when you elevate the people who work for you, your business is only going to elevate as well. So we take that mentality when hiring VAs, not just, let's just get somebody to fill the spot. How can we find somebody qualified and show them that this is a partnership, that this is a long-term relationship that we're looking to build?
I really like that philosophy. When you elevate the people who work for you, your business gets elevated as well.
Yep.
And that's so true. For those who are thinking maybe virtual assistant is something they want to try, what do they typically cost? How much does it cost to hire on a virtual assistant?
And it depends. So if you go through a virtual staffing company, so a company that may come with virtual assistants who are real estate trained, sometimes they charge setup fees, and then the hourly rate is going to be higher because they came trained in real estate. Like, for example, Keller Williams has a staffing VA company that is contracted with them. So they go through real estate training and hours that they have to put in order to be a VA, but they're a little bit pricier. And so they range probably on the $10 to $15 an hour side because they come that trained. However, if you go to, one of the other sites for freelancing, you can find them as cheap as $4 to $7 an hour. Right? It may require a little bit more work on the front end for you to train them, which is what I did. And I do have a VA from a staffing company, so I do know I got to see both. But at the same time, it's also worth your while. So it depends what type of person, and what your budget is.
That you draw the line.
Let's talk for a moment about Point Central, the leading provider of enterprise-scale smart home automation for short and long-term rental property managers, and how their exciting technology can help you control property access to vendors and potential tenants. No more time wasted waiting for late appointments or no-shows. Oversee energy usage and analyze data in order to reduce utility and maintenance expenses. Eliminate the cost of keys or rekeying locks. Command higher rents and increase tenant retention, and provide tools for tenants and managers to monitor the property to improve safety and security. And it's all done through cloud technology, utilizing encrypted data and private cellular service. And best of all, the return on investment of installing Point Central's technology is upwards of 25% a year. The future of property management is here, and you can find out more by visiting pointcentral.com. So your topic is real estate investor automation.
Yeah.
Is there more to automation than
Absolutely.
virtual assistants? What are some
absolutely.
of the other things that people can look forward to hearing you speak about?
Yes, I'm actually going to be talking to you about the database that you kind of use in order to do that. So I use Podio, but there are a lot of different sources that people use, REI Black Book, RealFlow, and just showing within those systems which things you absolutely need to have in order to start making you money right away. right? So I think that we get overwhelmed if we have a database and we're not sure what things we need. You can play with a website for 3 days and that's not going to make you money just by developing it. So what things you should definitely make sure, you're utilizing in your database in order to essentially make you money right away in the process.
So all of the things you just mentioned, I've never heard of.
Really?
Yeah, which that's okay, because I'm not investing the same way you are. But it's all technology. Are those all apps that help with performance? Is that what those are that you just mentioned?
Yeah. So RealFlow is a big one. The top three that that most investors use are RealFlow, REI Blackbook, or Podio. Those are the top three that real estate investors use. And if you don't have a database right away, right? I didn't start out either with a database, but what are some things that you can do to automate and make money right now, as well as working your way up to getting a more succinct database that's going to really help you and with automation, down to, just clicks of buttons, being able to really, with your deal flow, being able to help you submit offers, monetize the list of the leads that you're getting so that you can, really be closing deals at a quicker pace.
So it sounds like a good chunk of automation also includes just understanding what technology and apps and software programs, as we used to call them, are out there. That,
absolutely.
That you can use and tap into in order to just be more efficient and really kind of get that edge above your competition. How else does technology and the technology that's available today really help real estate investors?
Yeah, so that's what even through the workshop, I know I'm going to go over probably at least 50 different apps or things or services that really help me move at a quicker pace. So that's what everybody should also stay tuned for. But yeah, so the apps and technology, what's great about it is, I'm not a tech savvy person. I'm an English major, right? Went from college. And so I don't have a computer IT background, anything of that nature. But these are just different, tools that really can help you have a better system and also be able to track what you're doing and make it more efficient. That's what the beauty is about when you really have a deal flow structure, which I see a lot of investors don't have. Everybody's just, kind of running around with their head cut off, putting in offers, not following up with the leads that they're getting. They're just kind of taking what they can, but there really is a process and a method to be able to scale, because you'll just run into a peak if you do that. You make great money, you might have some good deals, but there's a peak and a stopping point based on production hours. And so once you can put that deal flow into a more streamlined process, you're only going to increase your efficiency and increase your production to be able to close more deals.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, no matter how productive you are, eventually you hit a wall.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely.
And figuring out how to streamline and automate, that can really help you get to the next level.
Absolutely. And so, even just doing, from 1 to 3 deals a year, if you want to just do up to 10 to 12, or if you want to get where I'm at, where I'm doing, I would say roughly 30 to 40 deals a year.
Wow. And so since we're talking about it, what's one of your favorite apps or programs that you use?
Yeah, so my favorite is Podio, and I am going to talk about that just because it's on the way cheaper side from the other programs. And what I do love about it is it allows you to customize based off your business, which is really great. So sometimes you get into a program and it's so structured and you don't need half the features or half the things, and you're not sure, you can't necessarily integrate one part to another. What's great about Podio is it's like a blank canvas, which allows you to really, pick the apps that you want for your business that's going to make you most efficient. And so I'm also going to give, some tips for the different apps that I use if people choose to use Podio. But no matter what database they use, or even if they're not using a database at all, how a newbie should essentially set up their database, how someone who's doing 1 to 3 deals can make sure that they have these certain metrics and certain things in place to increase and scale. as well as where I'm at, where, having a full automated database for you to be able to, really take it up to the next level. And you can turn deals away because you get to cherry pick on which ones you really want to take.
Can you give us an example of like an investor you've worked with that was maybe performing pretty well, doing some deals?
Yeah.
You were able to show them some specific systems and automation techniques that really helped them go to the next level?
Absolutely. So I'll do a couple. So I have a student named John who actually works a full-time job. Has a government contracting job, so definitely doesn't want to get rid of that anytime soon. But was also on the slower pace of putting in offers. And so he actually used one of my VAs, and that price was at $5 an hour. And so he was able to then increase his offers based off the direct mail marketing campaign that he did, because the VA really helped in terms of tracking to make sure that he was pulling out the people that were not going to, get another letter, that he was doing slide dial, which is a way to slide into somebody's voicemail on automation. So once he combed through and got the numbers, he was able to then, reach out and send mass messages to each individual on that list. And now, fast forward from April to now, John has put 6 deals under contract, 3 that he's going to refinance for himself, and 3 that he ended up rehabbing and flipping. And that was just from April to now.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned that you work with private money, and I raise private money as well. Mm-hmm. How have you found ways to systematize that process?
Yeah, so one of the things too I'm going to be showing on Saturday is how I truly have generated close to $500,000 just by using LinkedIn. So what that looks like on automation is, me sending mass messages to everybody in my network, just getting them on the phone and having a genuine conversation just about what they're doing, how they have switched jobs, or, trying to offer them a resource to be able to help them with their next step or next journey. And then, just telling them that I'm also a real estate investor. And if they're ever looking to, invest in real estate, I have some ways for, them to take a look at another investment opportunity. And so from there, and of course, abiding by SEC guidelines for making sure I have enough touches, making sure X amount of days have passed before I can actually, take their money for an investment, been able to raise a pretty hefty portion for my real estate investing deals.
So did you said you raised $500,000 just using
on
LinkedIn?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. I'd say most people are on LinkedIn, or they should be. So
yeah, absolutely.
We already have that tool at our disposal, don't we?
Absolutely. And so I'm also going to give away too and show people the $1 million email, which is truly a lender who I reached out to, where his very first investment with me when I first started was only $35,000. And then it grew to $175,000. Then him and his dad came in as a partnership at $750,000. And then now they're at $1.1 million with us.
Wow. And you're going to share the letter that you wrote originally?
Yeah. So I'm going to show them exactly, everything that they need to go ahead and, generate those documents to be able to get the private cash that they need to do more deals. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, you and I both know that, what you're doing, whether it's raising private money or finding deals, there's a huge marketing component to that.
Absolutely.
How does automation help with the marketing as well?
Mm-hmm. It just helps with keeping on track of where you are in the process of talking to people. So again, you have to be careful with SEC guidelines. You can't really advertise on Facebook, guaranteed 12% return by just talking to me. And I'm going to teach people the right ways to do it, because there are people who are doing it right now that, it's actually illegal to do. So there are some easy ways and tips to be able to engage in a conversation with somebody in a more natural flowing way. That allows you to, convert them into being a private lender for you. But really the automation piece is really just making sure you have all the documents in check, making sure that you talk to them X amount of times, that the number of days is correct for you to be able to solicit them to then be a lender, understanding how to target accredited investors versus people who aren't, and kind of what those perks look like. So yeah, those are kind of all the ways that even having a VA to help you do that has drastically managed and improved my time as well.
And is there is it the VA that's helped you with that, or is there a
Yeah.
certain app or program that you
Yep.
use as well?
My VA has absolutely helped me with that, and I input all those leads into my database in Apodio. But I'm
Okay.
going to show you guys again how you can do that without a database if you're first starting out, kind of if you're in the middle, and then, kind of on the level that I'm at now. So I'll walk you through it from newbie to the end of where I started out.
Great. So you'll hold our hands and show
I'm
us
going
how
to,
to automate.
yeah. You guys had me for a while. So, yep, I'm going to go ahead and, pour it all out to you.
Great. What else can we look forward to when we come hear you speak at the annual conference?
Yeah. And so just essentially too, how I'm also investing in different markets. So essentially how, once you kind of get your lay of the land and you have started to do, a couple deals in your area, how you can basically start to really replicate that model into different markets if that's what you choose to do, and understanding what strategies, are best for that market, looking to see if it is going to be more of a buy and hold market, looking to see, understanding market trends in terms of if it is going to be more of a rehab market that you're going to go into, but just knowing how to duplicate your business and move it to different markets if that's what you choose to do as well.
Yeah, well, that's an important part of your strategy here, because you are going into other markets. I mean, you're not just investing in your backyard; you're investing in many other places. So, automation has helped you do that as well, huh?
Absolutely. And then essentially the steps too for how to start from the very beginning of hiring a VA. So we're actually going to go through a demonstration on how to actually hire a VA, what that looks like, all the way up to, what the VA does, a calendar for what the VA does. And you guys can see, what they're doing every day in my business, and then how I'm managing the other ones that are in my business as well, what their roles and responsibilities are. So you can see the full team.
Well, what about any other success stories you might want to share from either yourself or any of your students?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just love the fact that, the people who really do have success in this business, of course, are the people that take action, right? So, and again, I always tell people done is better than perfect, right? So it's just a matter of trying it, getting, if you want to get a VA involved, if you want to just start to outsource and systematize your business. I know we have some probably type A personalities that are listening on the call. But at the same time, you can only be the best by yourself, right? You have to have people who are going to help you really elevate. One of the success stories that I love is a student of mine named Brian, who was also very hesitant about the process of hiring VAs. He is someone who is very loves to micromanage, loves to shadow, has to be very much in control of the entire steps and processes. And came to me and just said, hey, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to be able to train these virtual assistants. And so we just literally walked through the process. I even recorded some training videos for him. Just truthfully, he was walking through the steps and I just pressed record. We walked through it. He finished. I pressed end, and that was his training video, right? And so I'll walk you guys through that too within the workshop of, how to essentially train them to get them up to speed to where you need them to be to duplicate yourself. And then fast forward, the highest amount of offers that he's ever put out was 150 offers in a given month. And that's on different strategies with MLS, some of the lead optimization searches that came in. So some online strategies, some door knocking strategies and things that came in. And so he ended up closing on 3 deals. One that he went to wholesale, one that he ended up rehabbing. Another one was a rental property that he refinanced for himself. So, and that was in a span of roughly 5 months.
Wow, that's a huge leap there.
In place. Yeah. So if you're putting in a lot of those offers, that's what's going to get you, more deals closed.
Great. Well, you're going to be speaking at the RPOA's annual Real Estate Investor and Landlord Free Expo and Conference, and emphasis on free. You can register for free at rpoaonline.org. It's February 22nd through 24th of 2018, right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Brittany, do you know which day you're going to be speaking there?
Yes, I'll actually be Saturday morning, right? Very first session. So can't wait to see everybody there.
Tell us why the listeners who are able to make it to this conference absolutely need to be in the room to hear you speak.
Absolutely. So if you are a newbie just starting out, you definitely want to know from someone who has made all the mistakes that I don't want you to make, how to set up your business foundations and how to really put good structures in place early on. Right. So that you can have a good deal flow coming in and, you'll know when to be able to outsource. For my people who are doing deals and, getting caught up in okay, I now want to scale or want to, do a new venture or move into a different market. This is going to be great because it's going to kind of work. I'm going to show you guys what do you have in place now and what other things you can start to put in place to also really help scale. And then for my people who are, really trying to grow and do, double digits a year, and the amount of deals, kind of what my deal flow looks like. So you guys can really take a look and see that. So you can use it and duplicate it into your business.
Sounds like a great opportunity. I can't wait to hear you speak.
I can't wait to be there. Yeah.
and before we go, you told me before the show started that you're actually going to be starting your own podcast.
I am.
Do you want to tell us something about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's on the realdealmeetup.com. So if you go to www.realdealmeetup.com, it's going to be called Guru Interviews. The reason why is because we don't interview necessarily gurus. We interview people who are gurus who are doing the business. So that is what our podcast show is called, Guru Interviews.
So spell that for us. D-O-R-U?
D-U-R-U.
D-U-R-U. Guru.
Guru. Yeah.
That's great.
We like to call ourselves people who are really doing the business. So Guru Interviews.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, great. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Can't wait to hear you speak at the annual conference. Go to rpoaonline.org to register for free. Brittany, thanks so much for taking the time to talk about automation and virtual assistants and just ways to systematize your real estate investing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
This episode was sponsored by Green Property Management, managing everything from single-family homes to apartment complexes in the West Michigan area. Find out more at greenpropertymgt.com. And Point Central, the leading provider of enterprise-scale smart home automation for short and long-term rental property managers. Learn more at pointcentral.com.
You've been listening to the Rental Property Owner and Real Estate Investor Podcast, brought to you by the Rental Property Owner Association. You can find out more at rpoaonline.org. If you enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review.